Welcome back. I'm Kevin Supka. We've been talking with Dom Giordano from AM 1210, the Big Talker, and his son DJ. DJ, obviously you're younger than some of us here on the set here.
Just by a little bit, yeah.
And 2 years ago, Barack Obama really energized a lot of college students. In fact, he's going to be appearing next week on the Jon Stewart Show in an effort to try to mobilize college students again in the midterm elections. Many younger Americans sort of ran to him as president. Do you see that same attraction now, 2 years later?
I think that what Barack Obama did 2 years ago in terms of Facebook and Twitter and the excitement that he brought into the election, it certainly was a different flavor. It was somebody who said, I am running on change. I respect every voter. I respect the young voters in this country and what you say and what you feel and who you are. I think the difference now, though, 2 years later, is I think you have a lot of people that feel disenfranchised in a lot of different ways. I think the moderates feel like the change hasn't come as quickly as they've wanted it to come. I think the liberal faction has also felt that Barack Obama hasn't done some of the things that he promised to do, a la close Guantanamo Bay, take troops out of Iraq, Afghanistan. So I think there's a sense of there was a sense of excitement 2 years ago. This year, though, I think it's a sense of realism and the fact that even if you agree with President Obama and some of his policies and what he says, you certainly look at it as, well, he's had almost 2 years now in office, and we have an unemployment rate of about 9.6%. with the stimulus money being allocated to different states and whatnot. So I would say that there's a sense of frustration more in the air this year than there was 2 years ago.
Do you see that having an effect on younger people turning out and helping in campaigns?
I do, and I'll give you an example. I'm a teacher, and we've talked about in our school the health care programs, and in terms of the percentages and what the healthcare rates are going to go up or how high they're going to go for us. And I think that if you pose the question, is healthcare, is health insurance something that everybody should be entitled to, every person should have, certainly people wouldn't sit there and tell you that they don't want anybody to not be able to receive proper care.
Sure.
But if you sit there and say that your rates are going to go up 20% if you follow the Obama plan, people start to cringe a little bit too. And I certainly believe that in terms of getting out to the polls and making a difference, I think the Tea Party has certainly revitalized a lot of younger voters. But I think it's also made it more crystal clear that if we want to keep our money that we've worked hard to get, then we're going to have to try to put people in office who are going to do what they say and help us keep the American dream alive.
You know, it's interesting that you say that because the Republican Party, which by most metrics and measurements right now is seeing a huge resurgence, that, you know, most young people, I think, have always thought the Republican Party as being pretty conservative relative to, obviously, the Democrat Party. As a younger individual, do you see that as a deterrent? Do you see that as an attraction?
I think that the Democratic Party has always been seen as the cool party, so to speak. You know, you have musicians, actors, actresses that have always supported the big names. Obviously, Barack Obama in 2008. I feel like at this point, that in terms of where the country is headed, I think the perception of the Republican Party certainly has changed. It used to be country clubs and fancy cars and cigars and things like that. Now I think it's more grassroots. I think that, again, I go back to the Tea Party, I think has made it acceptable for younger voters to come out and say that I am Republican. I think you have a lot of younger Republicans that are out there. But the question is, whether it's peer pressure or whatever the situation may be, are they willing to come out and admit that, yes, I'm a Republican, and not only am I Republican, but I'm going to come out and I'm going to support the party by getting out to vote, getting out the movement. So
Sure.
I think, yes, I certainly believe there's a change in the air when it comes to that.
As a younger individual, do you, you know, your dad and I and probably your grandparents were always raised on the idea that this was going to be a better time for us, that our children were going to have a better life than we would have. Do you feel that?
I feel like we are in a situation right now, we're at a crossroads. I think that we certainly, I've always felt that with the way our country is, we can achieve what we want to achieve if we work hard to do it, whether it's taking out loans, doing things of that nature. Whether we agree or disagree with these policies, the person I always go back to is Bill Clinton, who, for all his wrongdoing, for all the things that he did, here's a guy who he earned his way to where he was. He wasn't, you know, spoon-fed. He didn't get a chance to go to Yale University because his father was there. So yes, I certainly believe that in terms of the American dream and that value, I think that's still relevant.
Of course, I'm sure you were probably raised from birth, being the son of Don Giordano.
But Kevin, I might add too, it's going to be good for him because he has to support guys like you and me as we go off into Social Security and everything else. So
yes, that's
it's going to have to be better. There's going to have to be a bright future for him.
You know, and that's a good point. That's a very good point to bring up because I certainly feel it, and I would imagine someone your age feels it, that you really do have a financial obligation to the generation prior.
Yes.
And that's becoming more and more difficult, and it will be more difficult for your generation to support folks like your dad and I. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think when you're exactly right. When you put it like that, yeah. We are racking up the spending right now. I think that we are really in a bottomless pit, unfortunately, and I think the one key to me is the pressure that you might feel, not only for yourself, you know, when you're in your mid-20s, 30s, to try to support eventually a family, but like you said, to be able to help out your family when you're older, your parents, grandparents, things of that nature. I think there's more of a pressure that comes along with it now when you see that we are trillions of dollars in debt.
Yeah.
That you sit here and you say to yourself, 15 years from now, will I be doing not only what I want to do, but financially will I be able to help the people who have helped me get to where I am?
Sure. And small comfort that at that point Social Security might pay your monthly cable bill.
Yeah, well, if we're lucky it might. Maybe $40 a month. Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yes, yeah.
Now, what will you be doing on Election Day?
Well, I live in North Wales, Pennsylvania, so I'm actually going to be getting out the vote as well. And I'm going to go to my polling place probably for a couple hours that day. I haven't officially volunteered there yet. In the next couple days I'll probably do that. But I just think it's important to educate as well, that even if whether you're a Democrat or Republican, no matter who you are, that you need to come out to vote, because the Senate races with Sestak and Toomey and the gubernatorial race, these are going to impact our future. And even if it's 10 years down the line, we all need to go out and at least make an effort to do something. I mean, effort to me is the key word. That you can't change things, you can't make a difference unless you have the effort in place to be able to do it.
Exactly. Well put. And not only for the future, but with those races, we'll be feeling it immediately. Yes. in most of our paychecks. So with that, I'd like to thank our guest, Dom Giordano from Radio 1210 AM, and his son, DJ, for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here, guys. I'm Kevin Supka for On the Air with ATRO. We'll be right back.